Van ons nuus tot by ons onderhoud sal jy vandag sien hoe die kreatiewe bedryf as 'n silwerrandjie al hoe dikker en dikker en dikker begin word. Hallo en welkom by Klets Kompas. Ek is Irene Marie van der Walt en ek gesels vandag met Esther Bekes van die Namibiese Filmkommissie oor die filmweek wat die afgelope week in die hoofstad gehou is. Maar vereers gesels ek en Anne-Marie de Tooy die nuutste nuus in Môre se Republikein. Bly ingeskakel.
Namibiërs Engels stories. Henriette Lambrecht en Germany Daddy speel hierdie stories. Soms met 'n vonkel in die oog, soms met 'n traan uitspeel. NTV se leefstylprogram van die jaar. Moenie jou weeklikse afspraak misloop nie. Elke Vrydag aand om 8uur net op NTV. Op DStv kanaal 285 of op GoTV kanaal 25. Of jy kan ons vang op 1up2.com of op YouTube. Gaan net na NTV Afrikaans. En moenie vergeet om elke dag op Uitspeel se Facebookblad te gaan loer nie. Ons bring vir jou die interessantste stories en brokkies van oor Namibië.
Knertsie koffie. Wat 'n mooi woord, knertsie koffie. Henry, hier's op Uitspeel. Op Uitspeel.
Uitspeel, jou speelmaat.
Anne-Marie de Tooy saam met my in die Klets Kompas ateljee. Anne-Marie, ek dink voordat ons by die slegte nuus kom ons begin by die goeie nuus wat ek beloof het nou toe ek hallo gesê het. House of Poulton, Gaynor Poulton, 'n modeontwerper wat haar handelsmerk House of Poulton wil uitbrei na internasionale markte. En ek dink sy werk nou al 'n geruime tyd aan hierdie en House of Poulton het stukkie vir stukkie daar kan ons van haar ontwerpe sien. Johanna Swartboy ook daar in een van haar ontwerpe. En ek dink sy's bekend vir hierdie lyne. Jy weet daai snitte, daai half relaxed snitte wat ek baie van hou. Ja, en ek dink 'n baie goeie uitvoer van Namibië.
Ja, kyk dit as ek kyk na ontwerpe, dan laat dit my voel ek kyk na iets nuut. Ek het nou in die afgelope week 'n hele klomp Fashion Week content op my For You page gehad natuurlik, soos wat 'n mens nou maar doen. En dit het vir my alles soos baie van dieselfde gevoel. Ek weet byvoorbeeld as 'n mens na Chanel se runway show kyk wat hulle nou gehad het, dit was die hele ding was gesentreer om die feit dat hulle ou ontwerpe teruggebring het. En dit raak vervelig. Ek is iemand wat hou daarvan om nuwe goed te sien. As ek haute couture, oud couture en daai tipe van goed kyk, wil ek nie dieselfde goed oor en oor sien nie. En ek dink dit is iets wat ek hier baie sien in haar gebruik van lyne, haar pofmoue, daai tipe van goed. Dis goed wat 'n mens nie baie sien nie. So ek is baie opgewonde daaroor en ek kan net hoop dat ek eendag so gelukkig sal wees om een van haar stukke te besit want dit is stunning.
Ja, en dis ook vir my, dit lyk altyd vir my soos gemaklike klere. Dis soos dit lyk high fashion, maar dit lyk asof dit nogals lekker sal dra ook. Dit lyk asof dit van daai klere is wat almal vir jou sal sê, "Jesus, jy lyk so mooi," maar eintlik voel jy
asof jy in jou pyjamas aan het loop is.
Jy weet. Ja, so baie geluk daar. Ek dink dit is jare se werk, natuurlik van Gaynor en House of Poulton af, maar ook van die modebedryf, die kreatiewe bedryf. Ek dink daar's jare en jare se werk ingesit en ek dink ons sal dit nou weer sien in die onderhoud met Esther Bekes. Dit gebeur nie sommer net nie. Jy weet, vir al ons kreatiewe bedrywe, toe ek eers begin werk het as joernalis, was nêrens gewees nie. Miskien musiek was ergens gewees. Maar ons het nog altyd hierdie hoope talente in Namibië gehad en is so lekker om te sien hoe al daai klein saadjies wat ons geplant het nou uiteindelik 'n tuin word en dat daar nou iets daarvan kom. En ek dink hierdie is die oomblik waar ons sê, ja, dit is waarvoor dit alles was. So ja, maar dan het ons nou nie lekker nuus nie.
Ek is jammer dat ons altyd vir die nie lekker nuus nie, maar ja, so daar is nou amptelik 12 mense in hegtenis geneem vir die moord op die staatsaanklaer Shweda wat so tydjie terug laas jaar gebeur het. Sy is mos nou onlangs dood. So dit is 12 mense wat versekeraars uit amper 2 miljoen Namibiese dollars uit bedrieg het. En hulle syndikaat wat hulle toe nou gevorm het, is nou of word nou verhoor vir die moord op Shweda, wat ek voel ek is baie bly dat daar kind of justice is, as ek nou 'n Engelse woord kan gebruik, dat geregtigheid gaan geskied, maar dit is vir my so hartseer om te dink hoe ver dit moes gegaan het en dat dit is waarvoor daai arme vrou haar lewe moes verloor. Ek meen R2 miljoen klink vir my en vir jou ongelooflik baie, maar 'n syndikaat van 12 mense wat R2 miljoen moet deel, dit is regtig nie so baie geld nie. Ek meen 3 van hulle is nou nog die hele tyd in hegtenis gewees en die ander 9 het maandag in die Landdroshof in Ondangwa verskyn waar sy staatsaanklaer was. En ek hoop maar net dat hulle the full force of the law kan voel, as ek dit so kan sê.
Ja, dit dan natuurlik as hulle skuldig is. Ons baie ding wat ons in hierdie stadium nie weet nie, wat 'n hof nou nog sal moet hoor. Maar dit is vir my erg en ek kan nie verstaan hoe jy ooit, en dis 'n eeueoue vraag, jy weet, en die Griekse teoloë het bespreek, en die Russiese teoloë het bespreek, en al wat 'n teoloog gesê het bespreek, en filosowe en al wat 'n ding is, maar ek kan nie dink hoe jy dit aan iemand doen nie, hoe jy dink, hierdie is nou my oplossing, ek gaan nou iemand se lewe gaan neem, jy weet, en hoe jy daarmee saamleef, jy weet, jy moet elke dag want dit is nie net 'n fotootjie van daai persoon nie, jy sien daai persoon
voor jou oë.
Ja, jy sien hoe die lewe uit hulle uitgaan, hoe lewe jy daarmee?
Nou, ek moet vir jou sê, dit is iets wat, dit klink verskriklik as ek sê, ek het al baie tyd spandeer om daaraan te dink, maar ek is 'n verskriklike leser, en ongelukkig is dit so dat my gunsteling genre om te lees is crime, en James Patterson is my gunsteling skrywer, en as jy daai tipe boeke lees, dan spandeer jy nogal baie tyd waar jy soos terugsit en dink, sou ek dit kon doen? En ek dink ook die wrede manier waarop sy vermoor is, dit laat 'n mens terugsit en dink, wie ook al dit gedoen het, want soos jy sê, die hof moet hierdie mense eers skuldig bevind, maar wie ook al dit gedoen het, is eintlik meer monster as mens, want dit was 'n ongelooflike wrede manier om iemand se lewe te neem.
Ja, en wat dryf jou tot op daai punt? Ek is weer baie groot op, daar is Mark Granovetter, 'n sosioloog, hy het 'n teorie, wat voorstel dat daar omstandighede is waaronder enigiemand 'n klip deur die venster sou gooi. Jy weet, dink aan jou ouma, jou oupa, jou pastoor, wie ook al, daar is omstandighede waaronder hulle 'n klip deur die venster sou gooi. En ons almal het 'n verskillende half breekpunt. So vir my gewoonlik is dit een persoon. Ek word net een persoon om iets saam met my te gaan doen, dan sal ek dit gaan doen. Maar jy weet, dit wil sê daar is sekere omstandighede wat enigiemand tot enigiets kan dryf, selfs moord. En wat is die omstandighede wat jou daarna toe dryf? Jy weet, en ek dink dit is hoekom iets soos 'n genre soos murder mystery en al daai goed en thrillers en so bestaan, omdat ons hierdie vrae het wat ons nie kan antwoord nie. Jy weet, en ek wil glo, dalk is ek verkeerd, maar ek wil glo meeste van daai boeke oor moord word geskryf deur mense wat nog nooit moord gepleeg het nie.
Ek hoop ook so.
Ja, ek hoop so. Maar dit beteken hulle kan eintlik vir ons die vrae antwoord wat ons het nie. En dan terselfdertyd sit jy met daai ding in die samelewing dat ons wil nie na moordenaars luister. Nee, ons wil nie hoor wat hulle te sê het nie, jy weet. Dat as hulle nou skuldig bevind word en hulle gaan tronk toe en hulle sou 'n boek skryf. Ek sou jou 'n boek lees nie. Want wie's jy? Jy weet. Maar terselfdertyd ons het soveel vrae hieroor.
Ja, kyk, ek dink ek en jy verskil bietjie in daai sin, want byvoorbeeld kan nie die ou se naam onthou nie, Jeffrey Dahmer. Daar's 'n reeks, for lack of a better word, want dis 'n baie ou woord wat ek nou gaan sê, tapes. Daar's 'n reeks tapes gewees waar Jeffrey Dahmer gepraat het oor wat in sy brein gebeur het wanneer hy gedoen het wat hy gedoen het. En dit was vir my ongelooflik interessant geweest, en ek dink dit is, soos jy sê, hoekom sulke boeke bestaan, en iets wat James Patterson weer baie reg doen, is hy skryf baie keer saam met kriminoloë, wat dan vir mense daai dieper insig gee, maar ook almal se triggers is verskillend, in 'n geval. Ek dink ek het nou genoeg oor moord gewonder vir eendag.
Ja, eendag, dit is 'n bietjie donker vir 'n Dinsdag.
Ja.
Maar ja, hulle is nou nie heeltemal Jeffrey Dahmer nie, maar hulle word beskuldig van die moord op Justine Chiweda. En dat hulle na bewering met batterysuur gegooi het, voordat hulle haar vermoor het. En sy was vir 'n wyle in die hospitaal en sy is toe nou oorlede en die klag is toe nou omgeskakel na 'n klag van moord. So ons gaan nou maar moet sien wat daar gebeur. Maar eers gaan ek weer vir jou goeie nuus bring, saam met Esther Bekes van die Namibiese Filmkommissie. Maar voor dit gaan kyk ons gou na die weer vir môre.
In Kaap Vol Hoop elke week 8:30, 8:30 op donderdag aande vertel ons wat gebeur in die Kaap. Ons vertel die Kaapse stories. Ons sien die pragtige Kaapstad hier agter my, Tafelberg, die waterfront deel waar ek nou is. Ons gesels oor lekker kosse wat ons kan eet. Ons gesels oor wat mens kan drink, 'n lekker wyn of twee. Ons gesels met die mense. Ons hoor die Kaapse stories. Dis alles donderdag aande 8:30. Dit is op Kaap Vol Hoop.
Ons gaan loer nou hoe maak jy weer met jou Woensdag. Op Katimamulilo gedeeltelik bewolk met 'n minimum van 18 grade Celsius en 'n maksimum van 31. In die hoofstad 'n minimum van 18 grade Celsius en 'n maksimum van 29, ook gedeeltelik bewolk daar. En steeds gedeeltelik bewolk op Oshakati met 'n minimum van 22 grade Celsius en 'n maksimum van 33. Op Swakopmund ook gedeeltelik bewolk met 'n minimum van 18 grade Celsius en 'n maksimum van 20 grade Celsius. Lourdes blyk my die enigste plek wat 'n bietjie son kry môre met 'n minimum van 16 grade Celsius en 'n maksimum van 28 en dan weer ook gedeeltelik bewolk op Reebot met 'n minimum van 17 grade Celsius en 'n maksimum van 31.
Welcome and join us for this week's Agri Monitor, and we will be taking a look at the news and also the auctions and the events coming up. In the news, the Stamford Aquifers Uranium Mining Association, along with the former Minister of Agriculture, Kali Sleetwine, has objected to the uranium mining approval in the Stamford Basin, citing the absence of an independent hydrogeological flow study. 29 students, also in the news, 29 students graduated from Agra's Agricultural Academy on 6 March, completing diplomas and certificates across various agricultural disciplines. Then also in the news section, we will look at the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries has committed to urgently rehabilitating the Hardap Inland Aquaculture Center after Executive Director of Agriculture, Theophilus Ngitila, flagged its dilapidated state. Currently an eyesore to tourists, the facility is vital for breeding tilapia fingerlings for small-scale farmers across the region. Then some of the upcoming auctions that we'll be looking at on Wednesday the 19th of March is the Agra auction, Samahaling Stud auction, and they also have a commercial auction. Tuesday the 24th of March, also Agra auctions as the Larit Brahman auction. And then Thursday the 26th of March, Agra auctions as the Eastern Genetics Small Stock auction, and another big one coming up on Friday the 27th of March is the Namibia Livestock Auctioneers, the Omega Meat Master 9th Annual Auction. Events coming up pretty soon. Saturday the 28th of March is two big events. We have the Hoogveld Dynamica Day, which is by Hoogveld, and then we also have the Hartbeesloop Farmers Day. Then on Friday and Saturday the 10th of April and 11th of April, the Namibia Agricultural Union has the Agri Braai Day, which is hosted by the Sonop Boerevereniging. And then on the last one is on the 6th of June will be the Kalkveld Agri Mega Day. Alright, tune into the show and find out more.
Die voorsitter van die Namibiese Filmkommissie, Esther Beke, saam met my in die Kletskompas ateljee, nadat hulle die afgelope week Filmweek gevier het hier in die hoofstad. Esther Beke, how are you?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm better
Good.
now that you're here and I get to talk about film. I think the Kletskompas viewers by now know that I can yap.
Okay.
about a nice little Namibian film. And speaking of Namibian film, you guys had Film Week the last
Yes.
week, and I hear it was great fun.
Yes.
I briefly stopped by. Saraya Mentor, our multimedia operator, was also there. She tells me it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Do you think it was fun?
Obviously we were working, so it wasn't like necessarily fun, but
Yeah.
it was great connecting with fellow film enthusiasts, filmmakers. It was just a good time, like getting an understanding of who's in the industry. And I think our collaboration with NUST made it even more special because now we're bringing film to the people, meaning there were so many more students and people that had interest in this field that could come and check it out. So it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must say, one thing that I really admired about your program was sort of the mixture between this is what Namibian film is and this is what Namibian film can be in your panel discussions. And I also really admired the practicality of, you know, speaking about funding, speaking about marketing, speaking about, you know, where do you go when you want to make a film? What resources are there? Are there any kind of topics that you think still need to be covered in film?
Oh, the topics that we'd still need to cover for the Namibian film industry. I would probably say how to package your projects. You know, when you're coming up with a story, you know, how to make sure that you can sell that story, how to put it together, how to pitch to people. I think we still need to, you know, educate filmmakers on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then on to my next point, at Film Week you had a number of films, starting back in 2019 with #Land of the Brave film, all the way up to Skeleton Coast, a bunch of shorts, quite recent short films as well. Looking at the progression of Namibian film, do you notice that there are any changes in that time?
I think there's definitely a lot of changes, and it goes in two different directions. One, that some of the stories are really getting better and the technical skills are really improved. But on the other side, I can also say that, you know, I would also say that maybe it's not, but not because people are getting worse, but because we've now made it a lot more accessible. So a lot more people are having an opportunity to make films. So we have a lot of beginners now, a lot of people that are starting out. But I think Film Week is such a great stage and an opportunity to test your work and on an audience and to see, okay, you know, what is working, what isn't working. So yeah, I think there has been some progress in terms of inclusion and access. So more new filmmakers getting an opportunity to show their work.
Yeah. And aside from audience testing, obviously, you know, there's a far bigger part for Film Week to play. What do you think that impact can be for something like Film Week in the Namibian film industry?
I think events like Film Week is a great way for us to promote cinema culture. Beyond, if we're making films, we need to create a demand. There needs to be places that these films can go. And if we can have more events such as Film Week is our national event, but you know, it doesn't stop you from hosting a film festival and saying, you know, come and watch Namibian films. I think it's a great way to stimulate the industry and that hunger for cinema, you know, for films, and to get people to go out of their houses and to actually go and sit down and watch a Namibian film, you know? Yeah.
And I would really love your opinion on something, if I may.
Okay.
The place of Namibian filmmaking. You're a filmmaker yourself. You've been very creative in your storytelling as a filmmaker. What do you think the place of Namibian film is amidst, you know, not just the Hollywood hits and the Marvels and the whatever, but also AI coming onto the scene? Where do you think we fit in that?
So currently the Ministry of Information Communications Technology, they're working on a position, you know, a document on our stance on AI. So I can't really necessarily comment on the part of the NFC, but I think we just have to really exercise some caution. I mean, AI is such a great tool. Everybody uses it. People have actually become dependent on it now. So I think, you know, things are changing. It's almost like another, you know, industrial revolution. However, we do have to exercise some caution, especially now with the national priorities. As we know, the creative industries as well as the youth are a priority on the national agenda. And the big message that Her Excellency Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah had was that we need to create jobs for, we want to use the cultural and creative industries to help with the youth unemployment problem in Namibia. So if you want to make a film and you using AI and you're going to be the writer, you're the director, you're the editor, you're actually working against some of those national priorities, because the idea is we need to collaborate, we need to bring more people on board. So yeah, I think it's just finding that sweet spot between using AI as a tool, but at the same time recognizing that, we need to get people involved, we need to grow our teams, and we need to make sure that everybody's working.
Yeah. I think I'm done grilling you for now.
No grill.
But then another thing, obviously Film Week, one of the big initiatives within the NFC to, like you say, promote cinema culture, get people watching films and engaging with local film, which I must also commend you and our local filmmakers for. We make fantastic films, I think. But we have major problems in getting to that point where we can put out a film. What are some of those challenges that we're experiencing?
So right now we don't have too many options when it comes to distribution platforms. You've got your NBC, you've got your MultiChoice, but even with MultiChoice recently, there was an article put out that Showmax is going to be discontinued. So we're slowly facing this challenge of like, where do we take our films? I would then say the next option would be YouTube, but now with the payment gateways that haven't necessarily been available for us yet, it kind of poses a bit of a challenge, because yes, you can put your film on YouTube and get everybody to see it, but now the challenge is how do you make money? How do you monetize off of your content? So yeah, that's where we're at. That's the big question, and I think our minister, Honorable Emma Theophilus, I know that she's been lobbying and working really hard in trying to make this happen, because I think that's one of the ways that we can kind of remove the gatekeepers of distribution and allow filmmakers to be more independent in getting their work out there. Yeah.
And then one last question. I might be back to grilling. I'm hoping I'm not. But in the next 5 or 10 years, what strides are you hoping the Namibian film industry will make? And do you have any sort of, I don't really want to say advice, but what are our first steps in making those visions a reality?
Yeah. I think for me, the big vision is if I can say that the freelancers in the Namibian film industry are able to work 12 months in a year, are able to say that I've been able to work 12 months in a year, because outside of giving people skills, you need to give them a place where they can practice their skills. So the idea of a national SOPI, for example, is such a great way to make sure that our filmmakers are constantly working, especially the people, the technical crews, they're constantly working and refining their skills in a high-paced kind of environment. And then, a national SOPI, something that, a way in which we can have continuous work. So, yeah, I think my dream is that, the freelancers can work 12 months in a year, can take care of their families, and can take care of their own welfares. They can get pensions, they can get medical aid, So yeah, I think for me that's the vision. And how I see us getting there I would then again say more long form content, like national SOPIs. So being able to work with NBC or One Africa and saying, okay, how can they, get us a platform to put out a national SOPI something that we'll be shooting all year round, where we're constantly producing episodes for daily viewing. Yeah,
Okay, fantastic.
yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us, Esther. I hope you will join us before Film Week next year again.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm sure.
There will be some film that I'd love to bring you in and chat about film again.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us, Esther. Dit was Esther Bekes, die voorsitter van die Namibiese Filmkommissie.